Morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. I hope everyone's okay and ready for an exciting day at London's Calling. Thanks for coming to join me first as well. I really appreciate it. So for those of you that don't know me or have not met me before, my name is Leanne. I am from Norwich in East Anglia in the UK. I've been in the ecosystem since around 2015. But previous to that, I had a number of different roles in operations, customer service, customer experience. And that's where I found Salesforce. So I was working as an operations manager. The small edtech startup that I was working for asked me to source a CRM and automate some stuff. So I found Salesforce, and as they say, the rest is history. At that time, Salesforce was always kind of like on top of my actual real job. You know, I just kind of played with it on the side. And I knew that I always wanted to do more with it, but I felt what I needed was to jump in feet first and get a full-time admin role so I could really understand and be able to advise on the full capabilities of the platform. So that's when I moved in 2020 to be a Salesforce admin full-time. And then most recently, I've come back to my happy place as a technical business analyst. In that time, I've also taken on roles as the co-lead of the Norwich user group and also the chair of Inspire East. So Inspire East is a community event similar to where we are today, but based in the east of England in October. The tickets are on sale now. So 3 things that I will let you know about me. I'm very passionate about people, about mentoring, and about giving back to this wonderful community. I love a challenge. So whether it is running a marathon or having a go at public speaking, you name it, I will give it a go. And number 3, I'm actually quite nervous, but I'm very, very excited to be here. So today I'm going to talk about the role of the business analyst. I'm going to talk about why what we do is important, and I'm going to talk about how to work with us for successful business outcomes. Also recognizing and avoiding those common pitfalls. But before we get into the details, how many of you here have heard about Elements Cloud Confessions? Yes, I can see some hands and some nods. Okay, good. So for those of you that don't know about this amazing resource provided by Elements Cloud, who are one of the sponsors here today and are fabulous, Confessions is a resource found on their website. It's not just for BAs, it's for all Salesforce professionals, but you can come and, I like to think of it as a bit of therapy. Come and enjoy some of those mistakes that we've all made along the way. And it's a nice reminder that we're actually not alone and none of us are perfect all the time. So let's stay on that train of thought. And I just want to do a quick exercise, take a couple of minutes to think about those mistakes that we've made, we've heard of or have happened in the teams that we've worked in. So I did this in a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and it's actually a really nice exercise to get people thinking. So feel free to take this home and use this with your teams. So I want us to think about all those things that could go wrong, and then we're going to build the worst project. I will start. So no requirements gathering. I think that would be a wonderful project if we didn't have any requirements. Never done that before. So just take a couple of minutes, whether you want to think about it on your own or talk to the person next to you, and think about how we could build the worst project. Well, that worked. Nice. Okay, well, I saw quite a few smiles, a lot of laughing, interestingly, when we're building something terrible, which is great. So I feel like people might have resonated with this subject. Okay, so anyone want to start? What did you come up with?
Requirements or designs by engineers rather than by business or design.
Okay, nice. No testing? Who would do that? Anybody else? No executive sponsorship. Oh dear. No comm strategy.
Maybe making deadlines without communicating with the team.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just do everything in production. Yes. No training. Thank you. Anyone else? No communication. No planning. Oh, nice. This is terrible. These are some of the things that we came up with when we did this a couple of weeks ago. And as you can see, there's a very similar story coming out there as well. So I think it just goes to show there are these pitfalls, there are these things that we need to watch out for. And we aren't all perfect. So just humour me for one more moment. If I can ask you, if you can, to all stand up. And if you've ever done one of these, or you've been in a team that this has happened, or you've heard about this happening, you heard the story from somebody else, can you just sit down? Oh, yay, full house. Good one. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. That was really fun, so thank you. So with all those pitfalls, why is it important that we avoid them and arm ourselves with the information to work smart? So Salesforce has been integrating AI and automation into the platform for a while now with Einstein. So knowing its capabilities and your org's AI readiness should be at the top of your to-do list. We've got more and more clouds and industry-specific solutions being added all the time. And the ecosystem is ever expanding with all of the different partnerships and acquisitions. Now, whilst we can't know everything, it's important to stay informed and be able to advise the business stakeholders on the art of the possible. And I think this nice visual from Salesforce, Ben, just really helps us to see the landscape, the scale of the landscape and the complexity that we have today. So what is a business analyst and what is it that we actually do? So I think this sentence kind of sums it up quite nicely, but essentially with that bridge in between the technical teams and the business teams, we're able to speak both those languages to make sure that we always have an open line of communication. There are a number of different tasks and processes that we do, especially when we're thinking about leveraging any sort of AI or automation capabilities, and we assess a number of key factors. So first up, we're going to define those goals. So we want to outline what it is that we aim to achieve. Having those well-defined objectives will help guide the strategy. Then we're going to get into our requirements gathering. So we collaborate with the stakeholders to understand and document those business needs. Then we're going to prioritize those needs. What is it that's going to have the biggest or most positive impact for the business? And then that leads us into our process mapping. We're going to start by reviewing existing documentation, if any exists, and then close that gap. Then we're going to look at the pain points. So again, stakeholder engagement, gathering feedback, and understanding the challenges that those users are facing. We facilitate data analysis. We're going to ensure that that data is accurate and up to date, because we all know that poor data can lead to ineffective solutions. And then we've got the systems integration and readiness, because how the data flows between various different integrations that might be there, and whether or not actually the current setup is even capable of handling what we might be proposing. It's really important. We jump in on that testing and validation. We host UAT sessions with users and ensure that those solutions that are being built are going to meet the requirements. And whilst doing all of that, we're out there making friends, because the user adoption and training is key. And then all the way through this process and all of the different steps, we are remembering flexibility and future growth, because can what we're proposing be easily adjusted and scale with the business growth and changing needs? So often we find that the BA and the responsibilities are overlooked or fulfilled by other team members. And I'm sure some of you here at some point have fulfilled a BA role, but you just have a different job title. Please stop underselling yourselves. Call it out and make it known that those tasks, all of those things that we just talked about, contribute to the overall success of the business. Don't just let it be absorbed. We spend on average 90,000 hours of our lives at work. And I bet that's even more for those of you with all of the hats on. Okay, so let's take a little look at this in action. We're going to take what might look like a seemingly simple request from a business stakeholder as an example. We'll just walk through what might happen. So the business tell us that they need a new field on the opportunity record. So when the sales rep closes a deal on certain products, they can tick a box and indicate whether or not the commission is payable. All right. Yeah, fine. Let's chuck it in the sprint. Let's go. Stop. What's wrong here? Should we continue? Or is there something else that we might need to do first? Any ideas? Not enough detail? Okay.
That's why we're doing it.
Oh, it's like you've seen my slides. Exactly. We're going to ask why. So we'll get in there, ask that why, and they tell us that it will help to identify which opportunities we have to pay commission on. All right? Okay, makes sense. Should we do it? Stop. Is there something else that we need to do or that we should know?
How do you identify which ones you pay commission?
Yeah, good questions.
Be sure that your sales reps aren't going to say commission should be paid on every single one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're going to ask them, what is the problem that you're trying to solve and who is actually struggling? So there's 3 questions that I always come back to, and they are why, what, and who. So why are we doing the thing that we're doing? What is the problem that we are trying to solve? And who is actually struggling with this? So let's go in and see what happens. When we get in there, we actually realise that it's Shelley from accounts. So we're going to go and spend some time with Shelley. We hang out with her, and what we actually discover is that what is needed is when a sales rep closes a sale on product A or B in the catalogue, they should receive 10% of the total value of commission if they close the deal within 48 hours. So this is already a very different story from what we were told at the beginning. And there are so many potential solutions that we could suggest, but there's probably a few more whys we need to ask before we even get to the stage of thinking about what the solution is. So I want us to just remember, just because it can be done, it doesn't mean that it should. I've created a very simple flow here of what it could look like if we just did that without thinking and asking why. So we get the requirement, we chuck it in the dev team, they add the new field. The salespeople are really happy because they're getting the commission on everything because they got that box. They can just tick it. Nice, excellent, I'll have some commission. Someone's then got to go to the CEO and go, oh, I'm really sorry, we've paid a bunch of commission when we shouldn't have done. And then who here? Us. We're going to come and unpick that mess. So we've made it harder for ourselves. If we have a business analyst involved or we utilize those skills, we get the requirement, we do the analysis, it goes into the development team in a fit state. They build a nice process with some logic that actually makes sense, and we pay accurate permission, and everybody's happy. So let's imagine a world without business analysis. It's quite scary, but just bear with me. So some things shouldn't even make it into the development team. They can be solved in other ways, and that's what the BAs are there for. They're there to challenge and explore whether it's actually needed. So if we use other roles to perform the BA's job, it involves multitasking, context switching, which therefore leads to blurred focus, decreased efficiency, and reduced productivity. So let's just let people do what they are best at. BAs actually love documentation. So let them do what they're best at and leave them to create your JIRA tickets for you. They will even help you groom the backlog. So things like test scripts and documentation, they actually demotivate other team members. Usually creative or technical minds aren't really into precise documentation, and that's what we are passionate about as BAs. So let us handle that. And those stakeholders, those end users, you remember Sally from accounts? She's forgotten how to run that report again. Let the BA handle that. Let them go and have the conversation with Sally, and you can concentrate on your work. So this might not be an option, having a business analyst. You know, you might not be able to have a real person in that role in your team. So there are some things that you can do to streamline processes and educate your business stakeholders on how to work best with you for the optimum results. And actually, these tips can be applied to all teams, not just teams without a BA. So setting a standard. So wherever it is that your teams raise their requests, so whether it's in JIRA or somewhere else, set expectations. Provide them a template and be really strict with it. So I'm not suggesting don't be helpful, but maybe get them to do the heavy lift, because when they've requested it and they've invested in it, they will be more bought in. Support them without doing it for them. Record your meetings. So use Copilot, anything that transcribes, because if you're spinning all the plates and trying to wear all of the hats, something will be forgotten. These sorts of tools act as a backup, and you can always go back and revisit those things and those points that you weren't quite clear on. ChatGPT. This has been a game changer for me when writing user stories and acceptance criteria. Enter your requirement and ask it to do the rest. Don't get me wrong, you are going to have to edit it because it's not going to know your business, it's not going to know your nuances, but it gets you probably about 70% of the way there with the template and the structure, and then leaves you to just finesse. So you can get on with all of those other hundreds of things that are on your to-do list. So I'd recommend having everything stored centrally, especially for training materials. Try not to let teams and users store things locally and become outdated. You can use tools like Confluence, SharePoint, Google Drive, or even better, actually save it inside Salesforce. So use the files area or knowledge articles. Again, if you keep your users in the system, it will drive that adoption. Hosting interactive sessions with your users and let them participate and share. Let them actually drive the change, because when they've co-created it, they are invested and they'll actually make more of an effort to adopt and see the value. I firmly believe that the success, sustainability, and happiness of a team is to have a great business analyst at the core. They are there to ask the right questions and know what the platform is capable of. So together, you can collaboratively design and build the best solutions for the business. I'm an accidental admin turned business analyst, and a huge amount of my skills have come from experiences that I've picked up along the way. And I think that that's actually half of the issue here, the recognition of the value of the skills that you bring to your teams and projects from that experience. So just as a reminder, if we don't play the role of the business analyst or have one involved, asking all of those questions again, and doing all of the things that they do, this is what can happen. The key to conquering challenges and obstacles, whether you're a solo admin or a member of a team, lies within you. Recognize those roles that you just absorb and promote those, because you might actually already be a business analyst. And one thing I'd like you to remember when you get back to your desks next week is just because it can be done, it doesn't mean that it should. Are there any questions? Hey.
Hi. Yeah, just one quick one. So you talked about using ChatGPT. Do you have any suggestions for the kind of prompts that you would use for transforming requirements?
Normally when I do the requirements into user stories and acceptance criteria, it is as simple as, please take this requirement and write me user stories and acceptance criteria. Adding the word Salesforce in there helps it to, hone that a little bit as well. Yeah, quite simple, that one. Hey. Oh, hi. Okay.
I think one of the issues I have, and anyone else in the room has any advice on this, what I find is I've created platforms for people to submit requests to groups, and I always say bring these problems, not solutions.
Yes.
But what I find is certain teams, especially ones that we're trying to move on to Salesforce, they don't even know that it is a Salesforce problem to begin with. So I'm just wondering if, in terms of, I guess it's an adoption question, really, just driving people to understand the best, and could even be using Salesforce if we just don't
Yeah, so like you act as the gatekeeper almost, but actually it might be a downstream system. And is that what you mean? And you had to hand it over?
So people have problems, but they'll just kind of figure out what to do because they don't even realize that it's something I can solve for them on Salesforce.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. So they're creating their own workarounds before. Yeah. Okay. So I know it's hard when you're on your own. I would like, believe me, I've been you. The only thing I've really found to combat that is actually spending time with them. You have to go and sit with them and watch what they're doing and understand. Yeah. And I know that is time consuming, so I can't give you that gift. Wish I could. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anybody else, apart from time, any other advice to help with that one?
We always say to focus on the business and the business process. So instead of saying, like your first thing was, I want this opportunity to have this box.
Yeah.
We say stop. What is your business need? And so sometimes when you go to the business need, you can get the answers you're looking for and then be able to understand what their workarounds are that they're building on their own and be able to build that solution for them.
Perfect. Yeah, love that. Thank you. Hey.
I have a comment and a question because I'm in a similar position to you over there and trying to wear all the hats all the time. And I think it's about really active listening as well. So even in all the meetings that you're sitting in, like even the big team meetings, people have a little moment about something and then you can sometimes just pick up on it from those situations where they're not actively telling you about it. But then it's one of those things you can pin and kind of go back to later.
Definitely.
I also had a question as well.
Yeah.
For those of us that do wear lots of hats and have kind of become these, we talk about accidental admins, but also accidental BAs and finding that's something you like doing. Do you have any advice for people who are thinking, okay, this BA thing is something I want to pursue? What are the kind of steps to like increase your skill set in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. My first one would be join the community. If you are on your own and you are not in the community, whether it's on social media or in the Trailblaze community, you're attending events and user groups, please join. You are not alone. You don't have to do it alone. And you can build up your network of other people in your similar position. Actually make friends. You can have like friends at work. Amazing. So yeah, I think that would be my first piece of advice. And then Salesforce actually recognize now this as a role. So there is the cert and a bunch of material on Trailhead for it. There's also lots of free resources. Clicked, for example, is one of them. If you want to upskill more on the actual skill set of it itself. And there is actually, Vanessa Grant has set up a specific BA community group now as well. So for all of us together, or all of us wearing the hats, which involve one of those BA hats. Thank you. Hey.
So one issue that I encounter, I'm at home in a large group, and so we can have tasks that affect the whole group, but then get bespoke requests that are like individual clinics. So for them, their individual request is like a big goal, like it's got a big opportunity for them, but in comparison to like the group wide, it's 100 times bigger.
Yeah.
How do you go about like managing, like, let's say, communicating to the bespoke user that my time's so much more valuable on the group stuff?
Prioritization, essentially, yeah. It's tough because the person that's struggling, that's their reality. It's hard for them every day, and everybody's thing will be equally, to them. Support from your product owner, support from above is what you need to help with that. I would always do a little bit of investigation first. So see what it is that they're trying to do. They might think that they need this big piece of development and actually, something that's going to be quite time consuming to implement. But there might be something in the meantime, you give them a small gift, whether it's like a dashboard or a report or something just to help a little bit to pacify whilst you go and work on the other things that you've been told that are more high priority. So yeah, not ignoring them and just seeing if there is a little something that you can give them.
Yes.
No worries. Thank you.